morning, everyone. Welcome to Mornings with the Focus. Let me fix this real quick. Wilson Tarpe Jr. Glad to talk to you all this morning. This reminder for anybody who might be watching this for the first time, every morning between 9:30, 10 a.m. Monday through Friday, try to get on here, talk with you guys. It's just an open forum. Opportunity to have a discussion with you all. Hit the comment section. Opportunity if y'all want, call in or what have you. Either way works. Might be having Justin join us. I'm not sure. Got a couple topics this morning we'll get into. Again, feel free to hit the comment section, man. You're more than welcome to join the conversation. Let's see where I'm going to start today. I'm going to stay in the NFL, I believe. And go from there. Ben McAdoo should be. Let me see. I think Justin was trying to join real quick. Let me see if that is indeed the case. I'm not sure, but all right. Like I said, got a couple things in the NFL to talk about. We're getting closer to games that will be played this week in the preseason. Sam, thanks for the follow. Hope you're doing well this morning. Again, if you got anything sports related you want to talk about, man, it doesn't have to be NFL. Feel free to share it. Again, get the conversation going. You're free to steer it as well. So Ben McAdoo wasn't a fan of Baker Mayfield during the 2018 draft. He's since reversed course. Shocker now, right? He's now his offensive coordinator in Carolina, saying Baker, since he's been here the last 2 weeks, has been pretty impressive. Again, it's kind of a low bar. We know Baker has been doing better with the amount of reps that he's been getting. He's joining a new team in training camp. Look, the bar was Sam Darnold. It wasn't a big bar to clear at all. So, I mean, is not too much to take from that, right? All right, you said, Sam, you asked, am I excited for the NLL season? Break down the NLL. I don't know the acronym. Sorry. I'll give you a better answer. But yeah, with Baker in Carolina, I'm looking forward to preseason this week. See how he does. He got some weapons over there. Physically, he shouldn't have an issue running that offense. Just about being consistent. Like, that was kind of like the issue in Cleveland, was just being consistent enough. He had moments, both good and bad. But, he was kind of, I think we all understand why they kind of went for a talent upgrade. Not going to get into the human part of it because we don't know. Yeah, I am so sorry, Sam. I'm not. I know what it is. I have not watched. I'm so sorry. One of my guys, Travis Ellison, heavy into lacrosse. So I'm sorry to let you down in that regard. What's going on, Justin? I know we got you on here now. I just started. I'll just talk about Ben McAdoo with all the very interesting things he said about Baker in 2018. And now he's reversed course as his offensive coordinator. So, Baker's been rather impressive the last 2 weeks. I'm just saying it's a low bar in Carolina at that position. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm interested to see how they do in preseason going forward, Didn't know if you had anything else you want to add. Otherwise, I got a topic I think you might be a little bit more interested in. So,
I guess that's just the way they are in the NFL. But, obviously he didn't want him, and now all of a sudden he has him, and, part of his job is coaching him. So, I don't believe in it. You don't believe much that he says, but I guess, like you said, the coach just work with what you have. So he might be the best they have, so you better treat him a little differently.
Yeah, it's one of those the situation. All right, so this is something we talked about when this gentleman came out of college. Your boy Isaiah Simmons. According to Jeremy Fowler, a lot of people are visiting camps or what have you, sharing some nuggets. Arizona's most fascinating experiment on defense is Isaiah Simmons, who stretched the positional limits in 2022. The depth chart lists him as a linebacker, but I watched Simmons play safety in 11-man, then transition to one-on-one teaching with a defensive back coach and then a pass rush coach while the rest of the defense watched special teams periods. So you and I talked when he was coming out of college, coming out of Clemson. and the different ways that he was utilized, and why it was going to be kind of weird to draft him and kind of pigeonhole him to a position. But like it looked like last year they had him playing linebacker exclusively, and now it seems like they're open to that jack of all trades role that he had in college, which is interesting. But I don't know, because I thought maybe him and Zayvon Collins would be a good pair in there. But I get it. If you feel like you have a movable chess piece, I guess you have to use it, right?
Yeah, either that or I think it's more they're not producing the way they thought they would. Or they thought they with the size and speed of these two guys that it would be a easier transition. But again, the position they're talking about trying to put Isaiah Simmons in is kind of what he did at Clemson. And that's you got those splash plays because he really didn't have an assignment. He wasn't playing linebacker in college. He was kind of playing that. They play a weird defense where he's the free guy. So his job is just see the ball, go get the ball. And it's a little easier when you're not dealing with blockers and having to make reads. You just kind of see him in a specific spot and shoot downhill or just chase the ball, which a lot of guys can do that. So I think they're kind of just realizing like, okay, well maybe this transition a little harder than we thought. Because he's an athlete. He's probably played as much safety as he did linebacker in college. So now to try to think he's just going to jump in, in the big leagues now, you're dealing with 300-pound guys that know what they're doing up front. It's a little different. Plus, Arizona doesn't have the greatest defensive line to keep them clean either. So I think this is just to make the game easier for him. I don't know how that affects Buda, but I just think, I don't know, having a 6'4", 240-pound robber, I don't know what that really is. It's going to make him a better player, and if they can use him properly, maybe it elevates the defense. But still, you still got to learn how to play football at some point.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Again, Sam, so I'll let you know the things I'm comfortable to talk about. I don't like to talk about things I'm not comfortable or well versed on. NBA, NFL, WNBA, some baseball, a little bit of hockey. I don't keep it as much as I should, so it's probably where my safe places in terms of talking sports. So just to let you know. All right. Oh, couple things. This probably won't be a long show this morning, but a couple things I want to talk about tomorrow's preseason games. At least things to look for. We got Giants, Patriots, Titans, Ravens. In the Giants, Patriots game, a couple things I had was Daniel Jones in that offense. We heard how bad it's been. Some of the struggles. They're one of many teams going through that right now. Oh, sorry, Sam. Ice hockey. Daniel Jones in the offense. I want to see if we can get on track. How bad it really is. A lot of people are making issues in camp bigger than they are. I also want to see the Giants pass rush, like their edges. I want to see Kayvon and Ojulari for sure. The same thing with the Giants offense, the Pats offense. They've been in the news recently, saying that they've yet to really get on track. So I'm interested in seeing how much of this is really noise. What the current state of it, to see how bad it really is, or if it's just being overblown. Like, it's camp. And I want to see the Pats young corners. Anything in that out of that game?
Like you were saying, these are two teams that I kind of feel like may need to play the starters a little bit. Just if things are going the way they're setting camp, Giants are trying to figure out what their offense is, and Daniel Jones using the new receiving core of of the what's it called? Galladay, Wandale Robinson, and I never remember this guy's name. 89, but
Kadarius Toney.
I don't know why my memory is goes. But anyway, to see how they fit those three guys into this new offense, because it's going to be way different than it's been. And even if you get Barkley out there for a short amount of time, just something to see it on the field, and because obviously the major part is Daniel Jones, but you're real young at receiver and not really accomplished. So you want to see this group together, and you want to see that starting offensive line now with Evan Neal on the other side, Andrew Thomas. Just to even if you get a drive or two, but then just to see depth, see what you have for depth, and like you were saying, seeing how the two DNs play together. And they're a young defense pretty much everywhere anyway. So They want to. It's a lot of competition over there. So I think in that case for them, it's just going to be just trying to just play. It's actually a football game. Every one of those guys is working to try to make that roster. So you want to see those guys. And then for the Patriots, same thing with that offense, trying to establish who the play caller is, and they have about 4 or 5 okay wide receivers. And Thornton's been playing better. So just to see how they're going to use the group, because a lot of them are interchangeable, kind of similar players, and Thornton brings something different to the table as well as Devontae Parker. So I mean, obviously, you probably won't get much of Devontae Parker, but just to get that offense moving and see if Matt can get comfortable. And then same with the running backs is between 2 guys, but and they drafted one as well. So just to see who else steps up. And also, they got a lot of some young edge rushers over the last few years. They picked Josh Uche and Anthony Jennings and another. So I mean, just a lot of younger players they pick and see what they do, as pass rushers, because that's what they're going to be counting on this year.
Here, being able to hear me would help. Titans, Ravens. Treylon Burks for sure. Here for all Treylon Burks related content. The Ravens wide receiver court, just want people to see it so y'all can stop acting like it doesn't exist and it's impossible that it could continue to exist post Hollywood Brown, even though there are other people there. I think Proche, Duvernay, Bateman, it's more than enough talent in that group. Should be okay. And if the Titans young corners play, I want to see Farley and I'm gonna forget his name now, but you know what I'm talking about on the Titans. Not Farley, the other one.
Fulton or McCurry?
Fulton and McCray. All of them. I want to see their young corners play. Because, what it is in theory, how good the 3 of them could be together. But just want to see it, even if it's for a series or 2. Just want to see them together because that goes a long way for their defense if all 3 of them are what people think they are. Or what they think they are, rather. Who'd you have to look at in that game?
You definitely want to see Malik Willis. See what. Hopefully they let him play a lot. Because you're not going to get a lot of Tannehill, obviously, but let Malik Willis get as many reps as possible. And they got some young receivers. No one. Got the slot receiver. I forgot his name as well. Kyle. Anyway, from UCLA.
Is it like Phillips?
Phillips, yeah. Sorry, he's been getting run with the ones. So seeing him, and he's one of those guys that seems like he'll have a big preseason. So to get him, and as they try to figure out who's going to be the backup to Henry, because at some point he's going to miss reps. So whoever can win that job, and this again, the secondary, that's the one question for them. If that secondary plays into his capabilities, the defense could be serious. Because they already have a front 7 solid. So if that DB room is up to snuff, they could really that could elevate them.
Yeah, that's why I'm so excited to see that secondary. Because if it is, man, think about how much more damage that defensive front would have caused playoffs last year if their back end could hold up a little bit more, right? Just a little bit better. And they got guys that can run with folks and just flat out cover. But that's why I'm excited about it. Our last thing we're going to get to today, just going to take a look at NFL.com release some power rankings. So I'm going to put up on the screen. Just scroll through them and see what you think. We'll start here with Chicago. Got them 32.
I guess you have to. I think there's talent over there. And I guess if you get that offensive line settled, they're probably not the 32nd. I don't think they finished as the 32nd team, but I definitely understand why they're 32nd.
32nd, man. They didn't even hesitate. They knew exactly where this thing was ending or starting, depending on which way they went with it. But yeah, I'm with you. I think there's more talent over there than people are saying. But yeah, obviously they got a long way to go. They got the Falcons at 31, which I'm not about to make a case for either one of these 2 teams.
No, me either. They're interchangeable at this point. I think again the rosters are real thin. There's talent at the top end and potential at the top end, but until you see it, the offensive line's bad, defensive line's bad. I mean, there's a couple of solid players. You got Pitts and what people hope London will be, and and the D tackle. but the linebacker wants to get out of there, so there's not much talent there, and it's trail. So I mean, they're rebuilding. They're in the middle of a rebuild, and I don't think they're really hiding it.
What's going on, Kirksey? Hope you're doing well, man. You talk about Roquan? I have no idea, man. We touched on it a little bit yesterday. There's a bunch of teams that need him. I know you would like if your team got him, get you some linebackers for sure. Him next to Jamin would probably be a good thing. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm interested to see how this plays out. Definitely interested in it. Then you asked about Kareem. I don't even think Kareem's going anywhere, honestly. Like 15 years ago, this might have like moved the needle or something, but right now, how this league treats running backs, You play one of the positions where the league's just like, so what? So I don't know.
And
unless somebody like really has something to offer for him, but go ahead, Justin.
No, unless the injury, I think Cleveland also looked at it like, we took a chance on him when he was going through that situation. They signed him and took that for him, so they're like, nah, we're going to reap the benefits of this. And Chubb doesn't play every down anyway, so there's a lot of carries there for Hunt.
Yeah, I saw y'all just fired your D-line coach. Y'all might as well just go ahead and ask Sapp to come on staff. He keeps spending so much darn time at y'all's camp. Every time I look up, he's at y'all's camp. Like, you might as well. But yeah, I saw that, and I don't know, man. I never know what's going on there. I try my best not to make sweeping accusations or generalizations with what the Commanders are ever doing. But like, that's one of the groups on the team where like maybe it's just a change of philosophy. Maybe that's what it could be. Is the way that D-line was attacking, and we saw them pop on the scene when those four first all got together. We saw a drop off, then the Chase Young injury, and we know it's not really a drop off in talent. So maybe it's just philosophy, and we'll see if it changes at all, right? So maybe it's just that. Yeah, I mean, if they could afford him, they get him to be okay with it. I mean, why not? Like, why not get somebody who's, been exceptional in the trenches? Like, it can only help, man. Goes a long way, especially with the defensive tackles they have. Like, man, soak all that up. But yeah, it might just be that because it's like on paper you would think that. On paper, you would think that unit would be one of the best in the league. And for Washington, on paper, it looks like it. It's just, y'all need the consistent production out of it. And then I think everybody will be fine with it. But that's the issue. It just hasn't been consistent production. So, I mean, we'll see, though. The Jags at 30. The Texans at... Man, I'm mad that the Texans are 29. I'm going to say it right now. Just have an issue with the Texans being at 29. Like, no respect was put on them. I'm deeply saddened by that.
I think it's not for them. It's a lot of projection of how you look at certain things. Like, you can look at that roster one way from the bottom up and say, man, this team's terrible. Or you can just look at it from the point of saying the way it's solid everywhere, and there's 5 or 6 players that we really like, who can make the plays to win games. And so I can see why they're so low, like you said, off roster, strength, overall talent, but they don't play that way. They compete, and again, you're hoping that a couple guys make the jump, and that would separate them from 29. Plus, it's kind of in that mid-range of 16 to 30 is kind of like you could shake it all up and move names around because, it's kind of everyone's there's a lot of parity right now. And Jacksonville?
Yeah, Jacksonville was at 30. I'm not arguing.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay.
Actually, why are they? What have they done to separate themselves from the two teams? Behind them. I'm just being honest. Like, not to be mean, just trying to figure it out. Because if we don't like anything that's really there with the other two situations, what's the big difference here? Is this just off of projection?
I mean, they have young talent. They have.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
they kind of have an offense, a set offense. Like people, they re-signed Cam. I mean, nothing special, but they re-signed Cam Robinson. They got the receivers they brought in, the running backs, and they got the quarterback. So I don't get it because the defense is bad, and I don't get it. I guess it more says what people think of the Bears and the Falcons than it does what they think of the Jaguars.
Yeah, so I guess just that's interesting to me. Sorry, Kirksey. They got the Lions and Commanders at 27 and 28.
Yeah,
this list is weird.
The fact that we haven't seen the Giants yet.
Yeah.
Commanders. I mean, I have high hopes for the Lions this year, same way as you do for the Texans. And they're not gonna. There is no way they're gonna be 27. I just think there's between the talent they have and just as hard as they play, that's 5 or 6 wins right there, and then whatever happens from there. But and I think the Lions are way too low, and the Commanders, there's talent over there. There's a lot of talent over there, So they won 6 or 7 games last year, and they weren't even playing. So I don't know. There's no way they're down there. I mean, it's more of I think a lot of times it's easy to just blame Carson Wentz because he's not who he was supposed to be, but he's not terrible, and there's enough talent around him for him to show up a few times this year and win some games.
Yeah, I'm not even going to go ahead and release that man's name because I'm not going to do that to anybody. But just know that it's on NFL.com. And that's where we got it from. But I don't know. Like both of these teams, right? I look at them like roster top to bottom. It's not a talent issue, so why are they down here? It's just you're looking for consistency from both groups. Like honestly, you're looking for you have two, like kind of sort like you got 2 veteran quarterbacks to a degree in Goff and Wentz. You just want them to be consistent. That's all each team needs from them, right? Both teams have playmakers around them. It's just a matter, like Detroit's playmakers a little bit younger in some places, but Washington's playmakers outside, like Terry finally looks like he has some help, whether Curtis plays or not. Looks like Curtis is going to play this year, but it's not just Diami on the other side. This is also year 2 for Diami. I think everybody knows what you and I both think of Jahan Dotson. If you didn't know, we feel like he was one of the better wide receivers in this draft class, and we're talking about at the top end of that, one of the better ones. Again, not going to get into names at some point this year, depending on how Jahan does. I'm sure you'll hear me say it, but yeah, I don't get it. You got Jameson and DJ over there. We know it. Like the Lions were annoying to play against last year. If you had a finesse team, you didn't enjoy playing the Lions. Like they're one of those. They're built a certain way. Like I don't get it, man. Trust me, I'm not banking on him. Like to me, it's like just the cherry on top, right? If he plays, that's cool. If he's not there, like in my mind, Samuel's the thing you'd be like, oh look, here's the dash of what makes the wide receiver core a little extra special. But in my mind, you have Terry who you can count on. You got Diami on the other side. You got Jahan. And then y'all got a young tight end who's acting up in camp. Young 6'6" tight end. I can't think of his name. Kirksey, if you know, just type it in there for me. But all Carson has to do is execute the offense, and every once in a while, make a play when something's not there. But I think both of these teams are kind of low. They got the Giants and Jets at 25 and 26. I guess, but I don't think I'd put the Giants ahead of. I don't know if I'd even put the Giants ahead of the Lions or Washington. I think the Giants have a few more questions, especially offensively. Like I think what they have going on offensively is worse than the last 2 teams by far. Then we got the Jets. I can see why they're here. You lost Mekhi Becton, which is going to be huge. That is going to hurt. Also, Zach Wilson, you waiting for him to kind of take a step, right? And it just still have to figure out, how to get the best out of him because it didn't happen last year. Honestly, they still got to figure out how to get the best out of Denzel Mims. Like I don't know what they have going on with him, but if you could get him going, like that's a nice talented wide receiver core. We know what is they? I think they drafted Breece Hall. I'm okay with the Jets being here because of my Mekhi Becton injury, but I don't know if I'm comfortable with the Giants over the Lions and Commanders. It's just me though.
No, I agree with you on that. I don't. Jets are another one of those teams. Like it's a lot of potential. It's what they're
Yeah.
going to be soon. I don't think they're there yet. And
Yep.
until you see it from the quarterback, it's hard to elevate them anyway. Same with the Giants. Same with the Giants. And the Giants are in a rebuild. Like there's no joke. There's no like. There's positions where they don't even have a starter yet.
Yep.
Actually have a name to put in there. So they're in the middle of rebuild. And again, they're off to a good start, but at the same time, I would say they're behind the Jets in that aspect. But both teams are kind of still in that weird spot. With the Jets, it's a little different because they have a mixture of some older guys, but most of their talent's young. Most of it's young talent.
Yeah, I would definitely put both of these teams behind the last two, honestly. All right, gonna go up a couple more spots. Got the Seahawks and Panthers. Got the Seahawks at 24, the Panthers at 23. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it's just a list to start the year, but I don't think Seattle's as bad as Carolina.
I don't
Even
think
with,
either one of them belongs up there.
yeah, I don't. I mean, Carolina, like, how much does Baker have to do? And I don't know, like, with that defense, Gilmore's not there anymore, like, which is kind of a thing I don't think anybody's talking about. So I know JC's back, but you didn't even have JC most of last year because he got injured. So figure out what that is on that side. But it's weird because they have incomplete. They have teams with more questions above teams with less questions, which is weird. Right? I'm not tripping, right? I guess that's what has me confused. Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, there's talent in Carolina, and I don't know, but it's a lot of, like you said, there's still a lot of incomplete things there, and then, yeah, I don't know. Seattle, I don't know what, I don't even know the strengths of Seattle, to be honest with you. The attitude.
I mean, I think it's just going back to what it was like Russ's rookie year. They're just going back to that. Like, quarterback, be damned. It's just that's what they're going back to. Like, yeah, you're not going to have the save me plays or the special plays or what have you, but they're going to be running the ball, taking play action shots, and that's that. And we see them spent heavily in resources to try to get their defense, back to a respectable place. Post Bobby. So we'll see, but I don't know, man. That's weird for me. You got the Browns and the Steelers at 21 and 22.
Yeah, I don't like either one of those. I think Cleveland has one of the most talented rosters in the NFL, and whether the quarterback is out for 6 games, 10 games, or the season, they're going to be tough to beat just because of that defense in Chubb.
Yeah.
And then, if the quarterback has any type of ability to get the ball to Cooper or BPJ or the tight end, like, it's not a bad team. The offensive line's not bad. Like, it's really just like you said, if they have a quarterback, they're a real contender. Might be the favorite in that division. So I don't know. I think it's more like a we hate Cleveland thing, and then Pittsburgh, it's just a quarterback situation. But the rest of that team can win. I mean, they made the playoffs last year without a quarterback. So
Yep.
Why would they be 21st team now? I think it's just again, it's you don't like Mitch Trubisky or you don't like Pickett, but the rest of that team is playoff ready.
Yeah, and like you said, the thing with Cleveland is the quarterback, like, depending on who's at quarterback, it lets you know where the ceiling is for the year. That's all it is. Like, again, as currently constructed, you take the quarterback out of it. That's a top 3 roster in the league. What quarterback, depending on who's under center, just let you know, where you're going that year. You got a chance to really go get you a chip? Cool, if 4 is under there. If it's not 4 and he's out for the year, then, if it's Jacoby, cool. If they end up going to get James, that's cool too. Whatever it may be, but it's clear what the recipe is here. You run the ball, you play good defense, and you hit the open players. Yeah, with the Steelers, it's what you said. It's just a quarterback. And we've seen them make playoffs without NFL quarterbacks before. So You got the Vikings above. Okay, Vikings and Dolphins at 20 and 19, man.
Hey, you got me wondering who made the list. um,
I'm not gonna do that to that person.
nah, I don't know, Vikings. They're an average team anyway, like bottom average to bottom team, which means they could be in the run for the playoffs just because they're in the NFC. But I don't. I just think that the roster is it's getting work like it was at one point. It was at a spot where we thought they were legit, but it's slowly becoming less and less. You're getting Thielen's not the same player. They lost players on defense, so now it's just relying on Jefferson and Cousins and Cook and a couple players on defense, but it's not the roster's not as deep as it once was. So I think they're still getting credit for the past. And in
Yeah,
Miami,
I think you said it perfectly. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying in Miami, that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't. That team has stumbled with no offense to, just missing the playoffs. So I can't even imagine if anything clicks that they won't be a top 12 team.
Yep. Yeah, it's really weird. And I guess we're gonna get higher on this list, but like that's the thing. We're seeing teams that were super competitive with good teams while missing like integral pieces. So if those things just work a little bit, like you said, if their offense is just functional, they should be a playoff team. With that defense, it's a playoff team. I'm not even talking about the weaponry they have on offense. Yeah, it doesn't. Look, man. This one definitely has me at a loss a little. They got the Pats and the Cardinals above those teams. Got the Pats at 18, Cards at 17. With the Pats, I don't know what's going on with them. I know they did make the playoffs. I guess maybe that's why they're there. The Cardinals made the playoffs too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's why both of these teams are there. But again, so many questions. I don't know what the heck's happening in the front seven or, in the front seven in Arizona. I know they got to figure that out. They still got to figure out why their team dies every year midway through. Like, they have to solve that. Because it's almost happening on schedule now. And then with New England, like we said a little earlier, I think they just have to get to a functional place on offense. But I don't know exactly what they are on defense right now either. So I don't know. I just, like I said, all I know is they made the playoffs last year.
Yeah. For New England, it's more like, to me, they're more like a wait and see team. Because they're one of those teams where you look at the actual roster, they might be lower. There's no way to me that they should be above Miami, just off the beginning, off of original talent. Even the way they finished last year, Miami swept them last year, and then knowing that maybe my own eye, but seeing Miami getting better, and then watching New England lose people. They brought in a receiver, you lost your number one corner. You lost a couple other pieces on a team that got by basically on coaching and just being a tough, hard-nosed team. So, I think for them, that's why they're more of a team that would be lower in the 20s and, would kind of just surprise you. They're gonna have to grind for everything they do. They're not gonna be a high-flying, explosive team, but, you're basically basing this off the coach. And then if Arizona was 17 last year or whatever it was last year, they should have fell because they didn't really add anything. Besides pissing off your quarterback and losing your best pass, we talked about losing your best pass rusher and just a lot of indecision over there. So to see them at 17, I don't. Again, sadly they're in the NFC, so they still have a playoff chance. But there's no way. There's about 5 teams under them, I would think.
And like you said with the Pats, they made the playoffs last year. That was in last year's AFC. You're not better than some of the. You're kind of behind some of the teams that made additions in this year's AFC. To be honest, but again, I don't know, man. Got the Titans and the Eagles at 15 and 16. You surprised to see the Titans here or not really?
I like the Titans. I do. They're like we talking about Detroit and some of the other teams. They're just a tough team to play, and Vrabel's proven himself to be a good coach. The players love them. They compete. No matter how things go, they're always in the game, and they give everyone a tough game. So I think that falls off to a team that, again, overall talent. There is talent there. There is talent on that roster. Again, they don't trust the quarterback enough to throw too much, but he makes some plays. And then the weapons they have at receiver, of course, AJ Brown is a big loss, but I'm not against. I think where they fall is a perfect spot because they're kind of just a middle tier team who can, can go up and maybe beat a team in the top 10, or then maybe lose to a team in the bottom 10. So I kind of fall in that spot. And then Philly, their ceiling is super high, and again, their style of play mixed with their talent, that makes them a real contender because they can beat you up physically, but then they have the weapons to also kind of, if it comes in to scoring some, they can, they've upgraded there where they have the weaponry to really make things tough on people.
Yeah, I agree on both counts. Yeah, with Philly, I think this is a good place for them because we just have to wait and see about the stuff you were talking about in terms of can they reach their ceiling, right? And then if they don't reach their ceiling, how good are they if the offense is just functional, functional on their terms. And like you said with the Titans, it's not too much different, honestly. It's just how you feel about the respective guys under center, their offensive schemes. And defense is who you trust more. I know the Titans' defense has shown us more reason to trust them because the Eagles, they've been trying to retool or whatever. But I also like the things they've done to add to their defense this offseason. So, I got them coming out their division, but we'll see what happens. But 15's an interesting spot. 12 and 13, we got the Colts and the Saints.
Saints are tough. Again, the Saints have a solid roster, up and down. Defense is legit. Offense, they've added a ton of part pieces on offense, even if it's just guys coming back healthy. But seeing how they make it work with it used to be Kamara and Thomas only, but now you're adding in Olave and hopefully Jameis. See what Jameis does. What he brings different than Breeze did. More deep shots or just how they run that offense. I think Marcus Williams, I think you're going to miss Marcus Williams. I like Honey Badger. I like Marcus May, but Marcus Williams is different. Like, the ground he covers from center field it changes the game. I've seen him get to pass on sideline that not too many guys can get to. So I think they're going to miss him. But again, the pieces they have and the way they play, the style of play defensively, I think they're a tough team. I don't know if I put them at 13, but I mean, in that range, 12 to 15, 16. I think a lot comes on to Penny, and he's off to a weird start at camp with fighting every day and get kicked out of practice. But I don't think he's ready. But that's a huge part of that left tackle. Because Jameis isn't the most mobile, and if you want to get the ball downfield, you kind of want some blindside protector. Oh, and then the I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, I'm with you on the Saints. It's just if Jameis can stay healthy, like it's a bunch of teams this year we're going to talk about where their roster is top notch. It depends on the quarterback, either their availability or the talent level of them, or lack of reps, experience, what have you. If where the quarterback's level of play determines the team's ceiling. The Saints is one of them. That was one of the best defenses in the league last year. They still almost dragged that team to a postseason berth without an NFL quarterback on their roster after Jameis went down. And with the Colts might finally become what they wanted to be with Matthew under center. Just by, someone knowing, just kind of being a veteran quarterback, I think it was a perfect fit for him. I get why they did it. Because you don't need your quarterback to do too much outside of state. Like, just execute the offense. You have weapons. Execute the offense. That's all they needed you to do. Not lose to the Jaguars. Not throw YOLO passes. Just execute the offense. If it's not there, throw it away. If it's a bad play, check it to a better one. If minimize the L you can take if it's a bad situation. But, that's easy to say for, young quarterbacks, but they got to see everything sometimes for them to kind of be able to do that. Matt has seen everything. I think they're going to be fine this year. If health permitting, they're one of the team in the AFC I think people kind of don't pay enough attention to. Again, if everyone on that team is healthy, their defense stays intact, their offense should take a little step. And again, they added Gilmore to that defense.
Yeah, no, they're an intriguing team because they're like they can again they're one of those teams similar to the Titans where they can play with they're a tough team to play. I think they'll be a little more consistent offensively, which that's all they really want. The coach is a solid play caller, and then having the run game, and they were beating teams up at one point last year as well. And it's just not letting having your quarterback lose you the game. And then defensively, they might. I don't know if they take a step back because they're losing the defensive coordinator, but then and then missing Leonard. But at the same time, Gilmore gives them something they had never had. And if it sounds like he's playing looks good in camp, so you add in a Pro Bowl / All Pro corner to a defense that's already solid, it just gives them adds another weapon. And then I think they're just a team that they could get on a run and they can beat anybody, play with anybody. But it's just what can they do in the passing game? It comes down to it. Can Matt Ryan and does Michael Pittman make the jump? Does Paris Campbell step up? Can Matt Ryan put that offense to 24 to 30 points a game?
Yeah, and look, part of me thinks Matt can with what's around him. We got one of the best, arguably the best running back in the league in the backfield. What are you really being asked to do? Just like you said, keep the thing keep the offense moving. And I think Alec Pierce is going to be a great compliment to Pittman. I think they're a nice compliment. We'll just see how quickly the youngster can get going. We got the Raiders and the Ravens as we about to enter the top 10. The Raiders at 11, the Ravens at 10.
Raiders. I think the Raiders could go either way. Like I think the Raiders could if everything clicks, could be close to fighting for that top 5. And if some things don't break right, could be 15, 16. But the one thing you got to give them is that's a strong team. Like they competed last year, going through a lot, and as much as people don't like David Carr, he's been getting the job done. Maybe even not the best under pressure, but adding McDaniel and adding the weapons they've added. He's not going to own that ball much anyway. He's got guys that can get open quick, get him the ball. And the New England thing of letting everyone get the ball, the running backs, they're all solid players. So it's not like, it doesn't have talent over there. So they got a little bit of everything. And again, if that offensive line, Leatherwood and whoever the right tackle, right guard situation works itself out, they could be, they're as good as anybody. And the moves they made on defense are some of them were underrated, but that's a good roster over there. They could do damage, I think. And Baltimore is Baltimore. Like they're just always, unfortunately, they're the same. And they're tough to play. They're a good team. They're talented. But until they figure out how to maximize Lamar or not sabotage them themselves, they're always going to be in a weird spot where you're asking him to put a cape on against good teams. And he can do it. And when he does, it's like, they look like a real contender. But when he doesn't, we blame it on him. But I just think it's not so much talent, overall team talent. It's scheme offensively. And, the defense is, they got a new defensive coordinator, so we'll see what they do there. But there's so much talent over there, and having healthy corners, healthy running backs, they should be a playoff team easily.
Yeah, with the Raiders, McDaniels is going to have fun with the weapons he has. It's just on Derek to take advantage of it, right? That's all you need him to do. Bro, they got a whole Devontae Adams now. Like, we seen in Buffalo what an elite wide receiver can do for a quarterback. And that's for a young quarterback. You think Derek isn't going crazy about his former college teammate being over there? No, like even sometimes I can't just say scrap the play. I'm looking for Devontae. You watch somebody else do it for like 4 or 5 years. Worked out for them more times than not. Not that you would have to, because Josh McDaniels is good at what he does. And then with the Ravens, I'll jump out there and say I think possibly this receiving core could be the group that I think they're good enough as a group in terms of giving them everything Lamar needs that can kind of override some of the limitations schematically on the offensive, like in their passing game, where it'll be fine. Because like, it makes me think back to like one of the things that like Cap didn't have that whole time in San Fran was nobody had that speed Duvernay had. I mean, they had Vernon, that was it. Vernon was the one lone explosive threat. everybody on this group is explosive. Like, you got Mark Andrews, one of the best tight ends in the league, right? Wherever you want to put him. I think Duvernay's speed is going to really... Duvernay and Proche, or Proche, however you say it, I'm sorry. Those two, their speed is going to really open things up. Because before it was just like bunch of guys, and you had Mark Andrews, you had Hollywood and his speed, and that was kind of it. And I like the body types of Proche and Duvernay a little bit more than I like with Hollywood, where they seem physically big enough to take hits, to finish plays, things of that nature. And then Bateman, obviously, goes a long way. Like, I think just as a group, dude might end up getting credit. Like, Groman might end up getting credit for, like, changes that happen offensively, which maybe he does make them. But there's a part of me that thinks too much won't change in the pass game, but the playmakers will make it so. Like, the playmakers will make it all right because they just have more speed. Like, this is a way more dynamic group than anything Cap had. Just to throw that out there. Way more dynamic group. Like, the tight end's the slowest player, and Mark Andrews isn't slow. Like, so, I mean, like you said, the Ravens are always the Ravens. And then defensively, man, they are what they are. Going to see what additional wrinkles they have. Your man Adafe should probably take a giant step, which is the Ravens' way once they get their hands on pass rushers. What's going on, Jarrell? They should be. They should be. I'm just interested to see who gets the credit if they are. That's all I'm here for. Me being petty, but you know how this goes. When it doesn't work, it's the quarterback. When it does work, shout out to the coordinator for being brilliant, depending on who the coordinator is. All right, Justin. We got the Chargers at 9 and the Broncos at 8. Unmute, sir.
Okay. Chargers rosters are a loaded roster, but again, until we see that offensive line, the opposite side of Slater, see that position, the tackle, we'll hopefully see what he does to be improved. If they get improvement there, and then offensively, like as much as I like Herbert, I kind of looked around and I'm like, they're above average. It's getting put in this position of this elite offense, but I don't think it's an elite offense. I think the running back's obviously really, really good. Eckler, he provides a lot in the passing game and makes sure the run game, but I just think the offense is missing that big play threat, and I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be fine, but I'm just saying I think they put a lot on Herbert's shoulders that, it leads to good games and bad games. So, sometimes he doesn't always play the best game, but defensively, you just want to see it. They added a lot of talent, and we give a lot of credit to the coordinator. Now the head coach, but we're gonna see it now. It is a loaded roster, but I just until I see it, it's hard to see. The consistent. Like, you watch them play Kansas City and you think they're a Super Bowl team, and then you watch them lose to Jackson or the Texans or whatever. So it's like you just want to see it for them. And then Denver, I think they're a little overrated as well. Like, I think people get a little. Like, I think the talent they had last year, and everyone's just saying, "Oh, if you throw a quarterback in there, it takes off." But you still got to figure it out. Those receivers are good, but you still want to see more from them. You want to actually see it. I think Sutton I think Judy takes a step. I think Sutton, this is the year he gets people see how good he really is. And then, Javonte Williams, but I just want to see it. Again, same thing. And then defensively, they lost some corners, and they lost a corner. And again, I just don't. I think that's a really good roster, but I just don't know. There's a lot of good teams, especially in the AFC. So I don't think I would have put them in front of the Chargers, but I don't think neither one of them is that far ahead of the Raiders, if at all. So I think they're all right in that certain area.
Yeah, I'm not too mad at the ranking with this grouping. Like, I'd probably, to start the year, right? Because, like you said, you got to show us something first. It can't just be all heavily projected, right? And with the Chargers, we just haven't seen the middle ground. Like, where is your middle ground? Where's your, at worst, this is what we do? I don't know. Like you said, the pendulum swings far too, just far too wildly. There's no middle lane where they're just like, worst case, we're going to run the heck out the football. We're going to play defense, and this is what we're going to do no matter what happens. No, we don't know, because you have those weird losses to the Texans. You have games where your offense just doesn't get started, and that for that defense, if you're supposed to be, as a defensive coach, what have you, show it to us. Show us this top 3 unit. On paper, it looks amazing. Where is it? Like you said, we just want to see it. We're not asking for much. You've put a lot of resources into it. You've shown that you're kind of a mastermind from a scheme standpoint. We see what you did at LA. This has more talent than the LA defense. What's going on? Like, I'm with you. I just want to see it. As for Denver, I guess that's the place. The only reason I think I'm kind of comfortable with them over the Chargers is because of Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. Because I know like there's a baseline of gonna actually run the ball and run it a lot if we so choose. I don't think this is gonna turn into the let Russ cook all the time. Nah, I mean just you can still do your thing, but I like the run game. In theory, I like the run game. Like you said, defensively, we got to see what this iteration looks like. Y'all know I love pass retain a second. But you just got to see what it looks like. Because the other thing, their nickel, I think they went and got my guy KK from San Fran. Depending on what you're doing on defense, you can't really put KK in bad situations. You know what I'm saying? Or it kind of messes stuff up on that end. But we'll see who steps up. You talked about them losing the corner or two, and we'll see who steps up and fills that gap. But I'm also with you where there's like a group of the AFC teams where it just is what it is until we see you guys fight to the death, honestly. Oh, this is fun. We got the Bengals and Packers. 5 and 6.
I think I was thinking about this yesterday at the gym. Like, how many times has an offense been an offense with that looked like it was going to make that that was carrying a team, whether with the quarterback, receivers, and running back, who just ended up being a solid team for a long time, but never really finished it. Like I think that playoff run in a couple games made us think this offense was another level, and they struggled in the playoffs. And again, until the offensive line, they're better, but their combination of them being better, but Burrow holds the ball too, so it works. It works together, in a negative sense. But I just think they're a really good team. But I don't see. I think there's teams that are more talented than they are. And offensively, you're relying on a lot of contested stuff, and sometimes those contested balls, just like the interception numbers, can go left and right. When you're relying on that type of thing, it can go left and right. But there's so much talent, with Chase and Higgins and the ability to score in one play, which gives them a chance to always be in the game. But I just don't know if I think they're closer to 10 than 5, because I think Green Bay's a better team than they are. Green Bay's defense is loaded, and then just having the best quarterback in the NFL, and the running backs they have, I think they'll find a way to win games. And Cincinnati's not a bad team. Obviously, Cincinnati's a team that I think might be fighting for the playoffs, unless they come out. Sometimes teams will make that jump where now they believe it. If that's the case, maybe it's a different team. But I just don't see it. I think even defensively, they don't have that dominant player, especially not in the front seven, that changes games for the style that they're likely going to play.
Yeah, I don't think they have a closer defensively. And some of these other teams, like you talk about the Raiders, have a closer. Some of these other AFC teams have a couple of closers defensively. Again, in a perfect world, when the Chargers defense is all on the field, they got a couple of them. I get why they're here because they made the Super Bowl. However, you got to be able to dump what happened the prior season and look at it for this season. They shouldn't be top 10. Just being honest. Let's not lie. We were watching all this stuff happen in the AFC during the offseason. Who was like, oh, but the Bengals are still better than them? You can't honestly say that with a straight face. And like you said, that mix of a quarterback who tends to hold the ball a little bit long for the bigger play, and it's not a stellar offensive line, nah, man, I don't like it. They shouldn't be anywhere near Green Bay, honestly. And I'll be real, Green Bay's issues, in the postseason, they struggle with a certain division. It's not that Green Bay is horrible. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say that, Green Bay's just, they're horrible. They're, sometimes sports are about matchups, and they cruise along fine, and those same folks, from that division every once in a while go home. Green Bay. It's just a weird match, but I feel like you said, this year, I feel like they're trying to get closer and closer to have the type of physicality of the teams that typically send them home. So we'll see. I think Green Bay got better defensively by a lot, as you said. Offensively, look, man, you got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That's what he gets paid that much money for. Figure it out. Elevate the play of those around you. We can say that to you and mean it with our whole chest and expect you to do that. That's just what it is. Like, you're that level of player. We got the Niners and Bucks 4-3. At 3-4, sorry, but go ahead, Justin.
I could, in my mind, like, I see 49ers at 4 more like towards the end of the season, but in a preseason ranking, I probably wouldn't have put them as high. But I get it, you know what I mean, because the talent's there, and they've kind of already proven they can play with the better teams. They can beat the better teams, and I think there's an expected jump offensively, which I would imagine that's what would have them here is, the big playability that they're going to be able to do with the improvement of Ayuk and what Lance brings to the table. But again, it was weird seeing this. I was surprised when I was just looking through these teams, and I was like, I don't think I see San Francisco yet. So just seeing them this high was kind of surprising. But again, they're the type of team that can beat anybody, and I think by the end they'll be in this position. By the end of the season, they'll with the improvements on the line and at the quarterback position, I think they will be this team, and obviously defensively, I think they're going to make a jump as well. So by the end of the season, I'm not upset with this ranking. I was just a little surprised. And then Tampa. Tampa's a weird team because they're all vets. I don't really see this. I don't know. I don't trust the secondary still. And it's the same group they've always had, but I don't trust the secondary. Then they lost. They're kind of like not really old. I don't know. They're kind of old on the D front. Besides trying, but it's just I don't know. I think they're just that team that's just solid in everything, and they're just going to be playing at a high level regardless. And I'm just, it's kind of stale to me. But I don't know. Offensively, they're going to put up points because of Brady Evans and, Godwin coming back. But I don't know. I just don't see them as they're one of the teams that's going to always hang around. I just don't see them as in the top tier. Definitely not 3. Because I think the AFC teams, like a majority of the AFC teams, will go ahead of them. And I don't even know if they're better than, I don't think they're better than San Francisco, to be honest with you, overall. But again, having Brady and having Bowles, I think that's what has them there.
Yeah, I'm fine with Tampa Bay being here just because of they've since Tom's been there, they're consistently been in the mix in the NFC, right? Like no matter what they're. But like you said, I think the hard thing is we're seeing all these exciting splashes. They're just not exciting. They're that boring sound. We're going to execute at an extremely high level team. We're not going to beat ourselves. If you don't put us away, we'll make you pay for it at the end of the game. Like, that's what it is, and I think that's why they're there. But I agree with you. With San Fran, they shouldn't be here. It's a preseason bowl. Just going by how they've made this list thus far, they should be somewhere down there like 10 maybe, honestly. Because for other teams that had good rosters, you gotta knock them for having question marks under center, and look, it is a question mark under center. So just for the consistency standpoint, they should be a little bit lower. Like you said, for them, I think it's about what it looks like by the end of the year. But this is a preseason poll, so they should be dropped lower. They still have question marks, offensive line, what have you. I think the offensive line would be better than it was last year. However, it's still a question mark because it's a preseason poll. So yeah, they should be down there. I'm okay with them being in the top 10, but I wouldn't be mad at 11, honestly, too. That's fair. Where did you put the other teams with the second-year quarterbacks? Just to be honest, just being fair. The Patriots were somewhere down there, 18, right? Yeah, and Mac had a better year than Trey had last year. Davis Mills had a really good year, so yeah, they should be taking down some. All right. We got the Bills and the Rams 1-2. Can I first say I don't understand how a preseason poll starts and the champs aren't considered one until they're not one anymore? Why? rather disrespectful. And again, like it's the Rams, but that's kind of weird to me. I don't really get it. But your thoughts, sir?
Again, I don't know. Maybe they're hyping that first game of the season where it's Bills Rams. I don't know, but I don't. Like you said, the Rams are the team. I guess they belong one just because obviously they won it, but all the key guys are back. You know, the guys that change the game. And unlike most teams that kind of have the stars, like they know how to use their stars, or they can like their whole system is based around those guys. So it's not like you're wondering if Cup's going to get the ball or wondering what they're going to like. Those guys are going to get the ball, and it's just filling it around them. So the Rams are the one team you can just place in a specific spot, and it's like you know what you're getting. Buffalo is still. It's funny because like Josh Allen is came a long way, but there's still hot and cold Josh Allen pieces of it, and then he's still trying to find certain things because they got to a point last year where I don't know if you want him running the ball that much, and they were running the ball a lot. He was the main carrier, and I don't know. And then just want to, I think you look at that roster and Von and Von wasn't originally in Denver. We thought he was falling off, and then going to the Rams. He made plays, but at the same time, he was next to the best defensive player in football. So let's see how this works. And now when it's time to pass rush, they're looking for you, and let's see if that's the same player and how they make it work through 17 games. So, I'm sure they're not going to have them out there going crazy because it's more, they're probably saving them more for the games that matter. But I don't know. Buffalo's roster is good. I don't hate it. They don't really have any holes, like, you can kind of see a player that's an NFL player in every position where every other team kind of has some holes. So I get, but for me, I would just probably flip to put the Rams 1 and Buffalo could have been anywhere between 2 and 5.
Yeah, like I said, you know exactly what the Rams are, and you've seen them in high pressure situations. They know exactly who they are, and like you said, all the folks came back and. I'm gonna keep saying this over and over and over again. Y'all gave these people Allen Robinson. Like y'all did this. So we talked about what what Diggs has done for Josh Allen since coming there. Elevated the player like Gabriel Davis, things of that nature. Like we know what Allen Robinson was doing when he came into this league, playing without this much talent around him, never having a quarterback like this. What do you think he's gonna do with the guy who was throwing a Cooper Kupp last year when Kupp was going nuts? And we know what this offense looks like. We've seen what it can do. I just found it disrespectful that they weren't one. Like I'm perfectly fine with Buffalo being in the top 5, but bro, y'all haven't even made a Super Bowl run yet. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just I don't get that part of it. Like it's not like I know that the Kansas City game was epic, but even with Kansas City, we've seen them win a Super Bowl. We've seen them make it back to another one. We know that they can. We're Buffalo, as exciting as they are, we know they continue to take steps forward. Y'all have to do it. And it's just weird. I feel like that's just weird to have them number 1, where we're still kind of if and if. Just the fact that we have to say if. With the Rams, I don't have an if with them. Like you said, we know exactly who they are. And who they are they're a problem. They're also the reigning champs. So, they should just be, given that simple modicum of respect. I feel like it wouldn't be that bad. But again, I want to thank y'all for hanging around with us this morning, man. We'll be back tomorrow morning between 9:30 and 10 a.m. As always, Justin, if you don't have anything else, we will close out. And again, tomorrow should be Thursday, so it means Thursday night we got 2 games. We got Giants, Patriots, Titans, Ravens. And then, we'll take a look at all the, what they got 8 games on Saturday. I guess we'll start to take a little bit of a look at going forward. And, if there's more camp news, we'll see. Who knows? Maybe Roquan gets traded or something soon. We'll see what happens between today and the next time we talk to you guys. Y'all have a great